what a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. We're currently in the interim stages between two debates, so I'm going to pass over to the live panel so you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever the hell is in there while I set up for the next live show.
Why we're here in the first place. So it's like, yeah, it needs to be science restoration. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
So I hope Mark gets this message. Mark, call it science restorationists from now on. Don't say we're at war with science. We're actually trying to defend it.
And that's not to like jump on him or anything, like, you know, like in the work that he's done or that what he's trying to do, put it out there. But your words, yes, semantics, your words have to be chosen very carefully when you're speaking to a broad audience and everything. People like, because people will literally take that and, you know, so that's the whole thing.
Is that Jessica from yesterday?
Yeah.
I don't know, but someone's causing loads of feedback every time Jessica speaks. Someone who's got their mic open, so it's either Ranty Arwin or Anthony. It's
not me, I only just come off it.
Are we having a second show, Nath?
Yeah, I'm just setting it up now.
Alright, I'll go on mute and see if it was me.
I think it was from her background noise. I'm not sure if she has background noise.
Oh, okay. That makes
have
sense.
A little background noise, so I'll try to move in a quieter place. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Jessica, you are familiar with scientific method, right? You've learned a little bit on this show, right?
I mean, I've like growing up, like I learned the scientific method, so I understood what it was. But the thing is, you never connected with the mainstream scientific rhetoric.
That's it. That's the connection that we're missing.
Yes, most people aren't doing that, and that's the problem. So when you ask them what scientific method was used to prove this, they can't answer the question because they've been told science proved this stuff, and it's like, but it's like, no, it didn't though. It's not. That's not what's going on. Yeah. So like, that's why it hits so many people so hard. That's why they end up going through denial. I wasn't in denial because like when I started to look at it, I was like, yeah, there's nothing scientific about this stuff. It's literally a just so story. Like even the big, like one thing I was always skeptical about was the Big Bang. I was like, and I think a part of that was me growing up in a spiritual system that was about creation. Like I think that me growing up in that, automatically the Big Bang just was kind of out of my head. But then even looking more into it, it's like, yeah, they didn't actually. There's no proof of whether or not that actually happened, and there was no science used to prove that that's how we got here. So, you know, like that was my whole thing with it. So yeah, I do understand the scientific method fully.
It's that connection that we've all missed because you get told about it very early on in school, and then it never gets mentioned again because it's just assumed that you'll forget about it, and that's when they rape science with pseudoscience, and you don't realize that it's a raping because you've forgotten about it long ago. And back in the day when we did science, and you were told it when you were about 10, we remember it then, and it's easy. When the more alkali you put in your solution, the warmer the reaction will be. Therefore, the independent variable was the alkali, and the effect was the temperature or whatever. I don't know whether that was a good example or not, but in the real world, after you do a couple of jobs, you get a couple of kids, and then you get told bullshit on the news that science has proven gravitational waves. Oh, really? How did they manipulate the gravitational waves as a cause for the sensor that went beep when they thought that they were getting something from fucking Pluto? Bullshit.
Exactly.
It's like Nathan said, a doctor could be a quack representing himself or herself as a true doctor. How many of us have taken a car, if you don't work on your own cars, to a shop that says mechanic, and then you go there and the guy doesn't know anything? It's the same.
Sorry, you'll have to take it back to the dealer.
Yeah.
Do you know, there's a guy online that I watch. He's an enthusiast. He's not a professional. He buys cars and he does them up and he sells them for a small profit, and that's how he makes his channel. and he bought an old Rover, like a 1990 Rover Sterling or something like that, an old car. It was in quite good bodywork condition, which is unusual for a Rover, but nonetheless, it was in quite good nick. But mechanically, it had some faults. In one of his videos, he made a right turn coming out of a side road onto a main road, and I could hear the CV joint clicking. And I says to him, I says, "Hey, you need to swap your near side CV joint because when you're on a right turn coming out of a junction, your near side's clicking." And he's like, "Wouldn't it be the offside?" And I was like, "Nah, it's the opposite way around." Anyway, he took it into the garage, put a near side CV joint on it, and the noise had gone. And he's like, "That's so backwards. If you think that you're going to make a right turn out of a road and it starts clicking, you'd expect it to be the right wheel that's clicking." I was like, "I know, but it's not. For some reason, it's the opposite way around. It makes no logical sense. I don't get it, but that's the way it works." Sorry, I don't know why I come on that tangent then.
Loads of the opposite wheel. I was going to say, if anybody claims science, the way to challenge them on it, so you've got a concise idea of what the process should be in terms of how you challenge them, is to go through the steps logically in terms of what they actually are. So I'll just summarise them quickly. So the first thing you do is observe a natural phenomena. The next thing you do is formulate your hypothesis. The next thing you do is perform systematic experimentation. So in terms of your questioning, when someone says, well, we've done science or we've done an experiment, the first question should be, what was the observed natural phenomena? So essentially you're asking them, well, let's just check that claim. Step one, observe a phenomena. What was the phenomena you observed? Now that phenomena...
Sunset.
Don't put anything in at this stage. I just want to give a concise summary. So if anybody thinks, well, how am I going to challenge? I hear the word science or experiment. How do I challenge that? Well, the first thing you do is you ask them, what was the phenomena being observed? Now the phenomena is also your dependent variable. So as soon as they tell you what the phenomena is, leaf falling from tree, sun setting, that instantaneously becomes the dependent variable, the thing that you're trying to cause. So the dependent variable is the effect. So what's your natural phenomena is the first question you ask them. Then you've already got half of their hypothesis. All a hypothesis establishes is what you presume causes the effect. So once you know what the phenomena is, you just ask them, essentially, what's causing that phenomena? And once they tell you... Hold on. I know you're keen. Earth turn. Yeah. So then you've got two things. The dependent variable, observed phenomena, and the independent variable, the presumed cause. Now, an independent variable needs to meet a certain number of specific criteria. Number one, it must be real. I think that's obvious, but it's got to be a real thing. It's not going to be a made-up thing that you can't actually see or touch, or vary and manipulate. So number two, you must be able to, as the researcher, vary and manipulate that which you presume is the cause of the effect. So one, it must be real. Two, you must be able to actually physically vary and manipulate it. Number three, and I've already mentioned this, it is your independent variable. So then you've got step two, the hypothesis, the independent variable and the dependent variable. This causes that. That is your dependent variable, observed phenomena. This is what you think causes that. It's as simple as that. When it comes to a hypothesis, it's got two sides to it. So we're still on step two. And the two sides of the hypothesis are the alternative and the null. The null being the mirror image. So if you say, if Earth turn, then height of light, your null will say, if Earth turn, not height of light. Total nonsense formulated by Brenda. Shout out to Brenda Van Ashen for the total nonsense. Nevertheless...
Shout out retracted 4 times.
I was waiting for it. So that in itself does not prove a thing because it's got two sides. One that says, if this, then that. The other says, if this, not that. So in other words, the hypothesis gives you the empiricism. Because if you vary and manipulate that which you presume causes the effect, and it doesn't, you validate the null. So at the end of step 3, the systematic experimentation, actually putting it to task, challenging the hypothesis, the embodiment of the whole process is the experiment. So when you actualize a hypothesis, you do an experiment, a hypothesis test, and you will vary what you presume causes the effect. So you will vary what they have given you as the independent variable and see if it causes the dependent variable. So that which they presume is the cause will cause the effect, validating the alternative, or that which you presume causes the effect is varied and it does not cause the effect, validating the null. So that is the first thing you should do if someone challenges you with science. First step, what was the observed phenomena? You're halfway there because you've got the dependent variable. Then simply ask them what causes it. What causes that phenomena? Then you've got the independent variable. You've got the full hypothesis. You can do the rest from there. Then you just ask them, let's see the experiment that proves what you think caused that effect. Did actually cause that effect. That's it.
So let's apply that, Nathan. Let's apply that. I'm going to assert that sunsets are caused by Earth turn.
So dependent variable sunsets. What is the presumed cause of sunsets if you are Johnny Globehead currently?
Earth turn.
How are you going to vary and manipulate that which you presume causes the effect?
Oops. Okay, I got this. Gravity. Let's do gravity instead.
Okay, what about it? What is gravity?
Objects fall down and stick to the Earth.
You didn't answer my question. What is gravity?
Gravity is the thing that pulls things down.
Can you show me this natural phenomena, please?
Just look at a leaf falling off a tree.
Yeah, that's a leaf falling off a tree.
Yeah, it's going down though, isn't it? It's not going up.
So we're looking for the cause of leaf falling from a tree.
Yeah.
And this tree's at the bottom of the ocean, is it?
No, it's at the bottom of my garden.
But the ones that are at the bottom of the ocean don't fall; they go up.
Well, this one's at the bottom of my garden, so the leaves on the tree at the bottom of my garden is affected by gravity.
But that's just a conclusion and a presupposition. So I've already demolished that by saying that depending on the medium, i.e. a tree at the bottom of the ocean, its leaf detaches, and it's, depending on it being less dense, we'll assume that for my example. Nobody's here to challenge it. Shh. We'll assume it goes up, right?
Yeah, but my leaf is caused by gravity.
Well, that's just an assertion. I don't even need to challenge you to science for this because it's just a presupposition and assertion you're making. So you can assert it all you like. You're not showing me gravity, and it's negated by the fact that not all things go up. Even the exact same thing in this instance doesn't go down towards the ground.
Okay. Boats go over the horizon. I'm going to say that it's because the horizon's curved, and that's what they're doing. They're dropping behind the curve.
So, step one, natural phenomena. So
boats go over the horizon.
That a natural phenomena?
No, but if it's curved, boats will go over the horizon, Nathan. Come on, you've got to admit that.
So, again, if this was to be asserted as science, which you're not asserting, but I'm going to presume because you're using this, you, not me, as the example of a hijacking of science. So we'll assume you've said science at some point, which you haven't. If this is asserted to be a scientific evidence, then we don't have a natural phenomena. We've got man making a boat, right, and sending it into the distance. That's not a naturally
I'm going to assert that it is natural.
Independent variable is the height of the camera.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I wanted him to ask me, how are you going to manipulate your independent variable?
Fine.
Being curve of the Earth.
Okay,
as the
fine, I'll play along. Let's assume, even though it's not, that a boat going over... No, that's me presupposing. Sorry, it's so easy to do. That a boat going into the distance... is a natural phenomena. Let's give it you and say that's a natural phenomena. Fine. Natural phenomena, boat goes into distance, disappears from bottom up. What's your independent variable or presumed cause of that
Earth curve, of course.
Earth curve. Well, how are you going to vary and manipulate Earth curve?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I can't do it, can I?
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support the channel, then there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Ranty Flat Earth, Pumpkin Puff, Paul, Chocolate Sane, Warren, Arwin, and 10th Man. Very good to have you all.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good to be here.
I heard you slowly butchering my name a little bit.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello. There is a gap on the panel, so if we do want to have somebody join us for the housekeeping, preferably from the globe side, then you're more than welcome. Any signs of curvature?
Nope.
Nope.
Haven't seen it.
Specifically Earth, right?
Still just the effects of perspective being called Earth curve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, any obstructions curve on their world, right?
Right. With all those lists that they come up with of all the things that could be causing obstruction from the bottom up, you'd think they'd realise that simply asserting all of it is caused by Earth curve is absolutely absurd. But there we go, that's what we're dealing with. Any signs of axial rotation, as Ranty's here, of the Earth-based variety?
Nah.
No, no axes. Just a little bit of star
gyroscope.
rotation. Just a little bit of star rotation. Doesn't prove that the Earth's turning. It just says that the sky appears to be turning, but it doesn't prove that the Earth is.
Celestial spheres, man.
Yeah, the celestial sphere argument requires you presuppose that as you travel from what is called the northern hemisphere, presupposing spherical Earth, to the southern hemisphere, presupposing a spherical Earth, that you have travelled antipode to your first starting point. Well, as you travel across the flat plane, observing the horizon rising with you in the aeroplane you travel in, and not observing any curvature whatsoever between point A and point B, when you arrive at point B, the heavens, the stars that you're observing, will still definitely be above you. At no point will you ever observe any antipodal stars. You simply have to presuppose that as you travelled outwards towards the horizon, flat, level, in your plane, that you were actually travelling around a ball, even though you didn't experience it and it wasn't in any way apparent. But when you make that presupposition and then you look, what are we looking down towards? No, we're not looking towards our arse. We're looking up in the sky again, aren't we? Up, not down. Well, when we look at the sky, we presuppose that actually the stars we looked at back at point A are now under our own arse. So when you make that ludicrous presupposition, then you can declare that what happens above your head somehow proves that you were on that ball that you presupposed to make the example in the first instance. It's called an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. If the Earth is a sphere, hence the use of the word hemisphere in case this isn't formalised the way I am. If the Earth is a sphere, we will observe antipodal star rotation. We observe antipodal star rotation, therefore the Earth is a sphere. If the Earth is a sphere, P, we will observe antipodal star rotation, Q. We observe antipodal star rotation, Q, therefore the Earth is a sphere, P. Formal logical fallacy. Worst of all, the presupposition is in there, so they beg the question as well. So they say if the Earth's a sphere, begging the question fallacy and formal logical fallacy, affirming the consequent. Any evidence of gas pressure being maintained without a container?
No.
Not possible.
Oh, yeah. I've had claims, Nathan. I've had claims. The trolls on my feed say things like, yeah, I can show you gas pressure without a container. Jupiter and Saturn, dickhead. I'm like, really? That's your claim? How are you going to prove that that's a gas?
Yeah, they're not. There is no demonstration of a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. If there was, it wouldn't be a law. But they still seem to claim it, and every time their audience nods along while they say, oh yeah, you can definitely have gas pressure without a container. Earth's an example. Here's how. Cartoon. You go, well, you're trying to prove a law of nature's not true. So either you're in for a Nobel Prize or you're wrong. So any evidence the distance to the sun?
Nope.
Definitely no confirmed measured distance to the sun.
Just a bit of maths, Nathan. Bit of maths that they tell us that they know the sizes and the distances to all these to be able to do the calculations. Neil deGrasse Tyson tells us it works both ways, depending on what math you use, but they still insist that there's a distance to the sun. Can't even prove that it's a tangible physical object.
Any evidence
Well,
of
they
south?
can't-
Go on.
A
Go
few
on, Tenth Man.
assumptions, a bit of math.
When they can't prove
some
anything,
spices.
they use.
Hold on.
When they can't prove
Chocolate
anything,
first,
they
then
use
10th
math.
Man. Go on, Chocolate.
No, I was just saying, just a few assumptions here and there, a little bit of math, a few spices and herbs, and there you go. 93 million miles.
Perfect. Yeah, an assumption of Venus being the same size as Earth, Earth being a spherical object. Go ahead, 10th Man.
Well, I'm sorry that I overtalked. When they can't do the scientific method, they make up a probability.
Yeah, absolutely. Correlation is not causation. Any more for any more? If not, we'll move on. I think we did gravity, covered it at least a little bit, so I'll move past that and say any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth.
Nope.
That's a mouthful, isn't it? Nah.
So is there a molten iron core at the center of imagination? No.
Yeah, a molten iron core at the centre of Narnia. I mean, a spherical Earth.
I've got a unicorn part in my garage that's got a molten iron core.
My candies have a molten iron core.
Say again, Jessica?
I said my candies have a molten core. I don't know if that counts.
No, I believe the presupposed spherical Earth has a chocolate candy.
I've got to deal with that, Jessica, now.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, guys. I've got to
That's
deal with that. Look, it's enough that I have to add... with which one is it the Ranty pipes up on? I think it's curvature, right? Or axial rotation, normally Ranty pipes up on. So I have to now add on the end of it, of the Earth-based variety, just to stop Ranty saying, yeah, my woman's bum's got a curve or an axial rotation on blah, blah, blah. Now you're adding on, Jessica, she's decided that she needs to add on that the molten iron core needs more disclaimers adding on to any evidence for presupposed a molten iron core at the centre for a presupposed
Troll!
spherical
She's
Earth.
a troll!
I can't add any more on. I can't do it with one breath. Come on, Jessica, be reasonable.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
You could
No,
at
there
least
was
specify
there was
this,
a-
Nathan. You could
I
at least
really
specify
do want to know if they can build anything that can go beneath that infrastructure. Like they've dug 8 miles, right? But they can't go past a certain point. Like, so I'm pretty sure they're trying to build something or create something to penetrate whatever it is they can't get through. So like, if they do that, that would be awesome. But other than that, like, I don't think we're ever gonna know. So it's
They
like,
made a movie about it even. They just get a giant tungsten drill machine and then they can drill through the center of the Earth. They made a movie about it, so...
I remember an old commercial about the candy, which was called Tootsie Roll. And the commercial had a jingle. It was, how many licks does it take to get to the middle of the... That's what I think she was talking about.
I was gonna say that, but I held back.
Last but not least, any evidence of the presupposition itself, Earth radius, the R value. R.
Oh my god.
I tell you what,
Just from space.
let me just address a common claim by ballers whilst we're on the R point. I often hear, where's it gone? Oh, balls, where's it gone? I often hear ballers claiming, Polaris moves by 1 degree every 69 miles. And they describe it as a linear relationship. Now, if we're on a sphere, it has to be linear, right? It has to be linear. However, as we can see by Mick West himself, no less than Mick West, the wonderful man that he is, Mick West has evidence that shows that the stars, including Polaris, do not move at 69 for every 69 miles. They do not go by 1 degree because they appear to slow down. Now, he attributes this to standard refraction. I attribute this to perspective because we live on a plane. If the Earth was a plane, the stars would appear to slow down as it gets to the horizon, which is what he now shows with these blue lines that he puts in here. Hopefully, is where he does it. Right. So what he's showing is The blue dots represent where the star should be or is relative to the where it should be, the line. So he's clearly demonstrating that the stars, including Polaris, does not move at 1 mile or 1 degree for every 69 miles. This is the proof. So anyone that tells you about Polaris, just remind them that McWest proves that that's not true, and it's entirely consistent with living on a plane. I'm done.
So, Anthony, is he saying that only happens as it goes lower and it's just above the horizon?
Yeah, he says it's the last X amount of degrees where it starts to slow down. But basically, he's putting it down to standard refraction. There may be a little bit of standard refraction in there. We don't know how much standard refraction works in the sense that it's negligible. They call it as much negligible refraction as is humanly possible to make it a flat plane look curved. No, make a flat plane look curved. No, make a curved ball look flat. So they'll just slide the refraction slider right up. So there may be a little bit of refraction in there, but if the Earth's a plane, then the stars shouldn't slow down. There should be a linear relationship for the stars getting to the horizon, and there's not. They clearly slow down, and Mick West admits it himself. So we can't prove standard refraction. Okay, we'll give him a little bit of standard refraction, but how much do we give him? The simple fact is it has to be linear on a sphere, and it's clearly not linear. It starts to slow down as it gets to the horizon, which is exactly what you'd expect on a sphere. So don't let them fool you with Polaris and 69 miles and 1 degree. It's nonsense.
Well, when you were showing that, immediately my mind went to the straw in the glass of water that looks bent, but we know it's not bent. The boat oar in the water that looks bent, but we know it's not bent. And then what we covered earlier today on the show with the horizon line and the mirroring. It's just once it hits that lower atmosphere, we have a mirroring effect on the stars, right?
Yep.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heliocentricity only exists in pseudoscience.
May I ask something?
Yeah.
Do you think that could also be added as a housekeeping question, like whether or not there's any evidence of Polaris actually having moved, or is that too far-fetched?
Yeah, they make the claim based on, it's like the Etvos effect. They claim that the Etvos effect causes objects to be, because it's rotating at a slightly different rate as you go up and down the lines of latitude. They claim that it makes objects of weight change its weight. And if that was true, you could buy gold on the equator and then sell it in Europe, and it would be worth more in Europe because it weighs more because it's not spinning as fast. And obviously that's nonsense. But that's the claim, but it's based entirely on their model. It's not based on empirical evidence.
Yeah, and no one will question it. People will just accept it and move on. It's like, oh, that's a cool fact, and then don't think about it.
That's why we're
Shout out
here.
to Brandon Toy.
Sounds like a new diet plan. Just move to where your weight is less.
Yeah, because your centrifugal force is less, so you're going to lose a couple of pounds.
Exactly.
Okay, other than the mathematical presuppositions that are made to verify with correlations not verified by any actual evidence, that pretty much concludes the housekeeping. Thank you very much indeed. Hey, Arwin.
Yeah?
Where did you go?
I think someone's
Yeah,
just
I didn't know
joined.
he left.
I think someone's just joined under Arwin's name.
No? What? Where?
Where did you go?
I was always here.
Yeah, someone else has just joined under his name, I believe. So
No.
they're in the
No.
back chat.
It says
Kick out.
Arwin left the group chat. Arwin joined the group chat.
Just glitchy. We've had a glitch on the last show as well, where both Ranty and I lost our screen sharing ability at the exact same moment. Just a glitchy day. One of those things. Not to worry. At least we got through the housekeeping. Happy days.
Whoa.
Last 2 shows before, well, not today's, but technically 3 shows ago, we got to like question 2 both times. Axial rotation, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Nathan, good time to plug Ballbusters.
Yeah, I just did an advert today. I did stick it in. I just keep running out of time. There's not enough hours in the day these days. Smash the super chat. I work so hard. Poor me. Anyway, I sent it out in Ballbusters Skype chat, and I was like, assuming that I'd get some feedback, and I didn't even check it. And then this morning, my wife pointed out that I still hadn't published it, so I stuck it out. If there's a spelling error, then tough luck or whatever. Hopefully, it's okay. But it also had a link to Ballbusters 9, which is going to be about evolution. So check it out. It's going to be on Saturday at 8 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Central. Be here or be sphere. Ballbusters live.
I'm just going to give a quick summary for the close on the point I made at the end of the last show. Heliocentrists abhor scientific method. Basically, just ask them 3 questions. What's your observed phenomena? That's the dependent variable. They'll give you an answer. What's causing it? What's your independent variable? They'll give you an answer. If the independent variable is not the same thing that they're claiming, then that's basically not proving the point that they're making. Alternatively, if it is the thing that they're testing, then it'll be an inferred something. It'll be something they bring in to infer. So, like gravity can be inferred as a result of that, but they didn't test gravity because that would have been the independent variable that they've got to manipulate to prove the cause and effect relationship. But what they'll then do is they'll say, "All right, so you've got your very own interpretation of science," and you just say, "No, there's a standardized set of questions and rules and framework that we follow called scientific method, and you do have to manipulate your independent variable." And they hate.
Oh, Anthony's sound.
Oh, I think what?
I knew there was another Arwin that joined, so just lost off the panel. Shout out to Rebel Rob TV and Colin Turner for smashing the super chat. Really appreciate your support. So we're going to lose the rest of the panel. Is it going to be worth setting up a new hangout? I haven't done this for about a month.
I can only see myself in there. I don't see a second Arwin, so
We just lost Chocolate.
Yeah, we lost Chocolate and Anthony and
Ranty as well.
Ranty.
Oh
Yeah.
wait, I'm not supposed to see myself in there.
Right. Oh well,
shit.
it's a bit late
Sorry.
to figure that out.
I sniped them out. Sorry, I
It's okay. I think it's probably going to be an opportunity to set up a new hangout, so I will do exactly that. So, unfortunately, guys, this is where I'm going to say goodbye to you, and then it'll be a few minutes of me singing the dulcet tones of Isa Maholsky. Welcome to the show. You don't know. No, you don't know. Do the work of but a moment, he says, optimistically. Is this going out live? So this is going out live on Nathan Oakley channel. I suppose I could use the opportunity to plug this channel. So when this is premiering, the people who are watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, if you did want to be watching this show live, you would need to be tuned in to Nathan Oakley channel. There is a link in the info box to my second channel. And often, well, that's not true, often, once this last weekend, the secondary channel actually had more views and more watch time and more in the stats than the main channel. So the extended shows, what are called the Uncut and After shows, have been doing exceptionally well. So there's obviously, more focus in the second channel. It's more dedicated fans, if you want to call it that. I know I'll probably get stick for that, but nonetheless, the shows are quite considerably longer. And as is the case with most of the pre-shows and after shows, the guests tend to be a lot more relaxed. Now, because that's the case, because the guests are a bit more relaxed, some of the conversations tend to flow just that little bit nicer. People are a bit less nervous. And over the weekend, you'll be familiar with these shows because they play out on a Friday, Saturday and Sunday on the main channel. So, that being the case, if you hit the info box below this 1980 video, so Nathan Oakley 1980, shout out to everyone live. I'm not talking to you right now. If you hit the info box in Nathan Oakley 1980, go and subscribe to my second channel. It is ace. You say so myself, but it's where I actually watch the show. I can't remember, I read this ages and ages ago, that if you actually watch your own show, if you're a YouTuber and you genuinely enjoy your own show, there's a good chance that quite a number of other people will also enjoy your show. And I'm not in the slightest bit embarrassed to confess that I really do enjoy watching the Flat Earth debate, and I typically watch it on the Nathan Oakley channel, on the second channel. So you'll often see me in the chat there, chatting away with the participants. So if you're in Ballbusters or you're in Masturbators, stuck the link to the new hangout. So hopefully we'll get a few guests in, and then I will share it with the public shortly. Well, let's get the hangout page back up for the audience, so you've not got my slides going by. Hey, Ranty.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm just getting on to Sleeping Warrior because he hasn't donated to the drone fund yet.
Neither have I. I will do though. When we do our Ranty-a-thon, I'll do it like right at the beginning, just to set a good example. That's my intention. Like I say,
when do you want to do it?
I like to be the first, and I wasn't.
When would you like to do it then?
The Ranty-a-thon.
Yeah.
whenever it's more down to you, because it's the way it worked last time was you streamed on your show. I was in the chat genning up the audience and back and forth with you on Skype saying no, play more videos. Hey Paul, how you doing?
Hello.
But it's more down to when do you want to do it. Other than me smashing the super chat at the beginning of it, or not the super chat, smashing the GoFundMe link at the beginning of it and being in your chat to gen up the audience. Because what I did there was basically in the chat room, which I love. I like the chat rooms. Shout out to all of you in chat. Hey Pete Shea. Hey Bible Literalist. Hey Sleeping Warrior. You're on the show. You should be. Right. So from the chat, I was like genning it along. So you're talking about an observation, but I can actually shout out somebody there and then in the chat during the Ranty-a-thon for how much they've donated and give a running tally of what's been contributed there and then. And it kind of I call it a Ranty-a-thon because I very distinctly remember, hey Chocolate saying, should be leveling you all up really while this is going on. Hello. I remember it when I was a kid, Red Nose Day and things like that. Hey Sleeping Warrior.
Thanks for the link, Nathan.
I stuck it in Ballbusters.
I'm not in Ballbusters.
Oh, you're not? Oh, okay.
No, I'm not in Ballbusters. I'm not in Masturbators chat. I'm not anywhere, me. I'm a loner.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Bell.
Hey, I gave it to you. Give me a shout out.
Yeah, thanks, Paul, for the link. Shout out to
second-hand link. You got a second-hand link there, Tony.
Sloppy seconds.
Sloppy seconds.
Excellent. So yeah, I remember Red Nose Day and Children in Need and all those things, and they were called telethons, right? Well, they always had somebody in the background or in the corner screen while they had a piece to camera. So they'd talk about the Ethiopians, and then in the corner you'd have somebody with the counter of how much they'd raised, and there'd be shout outs to the people who brought the big checks along. And it's kind of the same theme. People, it makes it a bit more of an event when you donate. Now, obviously, in the meantime, if you want to do it right now, we're in the second channel, Ranty. Feel free to spam your GoFundMe link as we're talking about it. It just makes people that much more inclined to partake, because the whole idea of generating funds for something like a drone or the P1000 is that it's giving back to the community. Now, this might sound a bit mercenary. Switch off if you're going to ridicule me or Ranty for this. I don't care. Couldn't care less. Basically, you don't get a great deal out of the YouTubing aspect of it. Now, I'm here to make a living doing this, and I'll never deny that, but we're not talking about me, we're talking about you. You don't. You've got a much smaller channel. It's doing well, but as a part-time or casual YouTuber, but you've still got these things that you want to produce better work, and that's how ultimately your channel will grow, as opposed to just, documentaries that you might spend hours editing. You're going out and getting raw footage. So you want more raw footage equipment, and talking about the equipment, showing what you've got to date during a Ranty-thon with me genning people up to actually contribute, and when they have, shouting them out and saying what the total is. That works really well, or it did last time.
You want to do it tomorrow?
What day is it tomorrow? Saturday?
Saturday.
Oh, it's Ballbusters tomorrow. We could do it. Could do it before Ballbusters if you like. Oh no, I've got my sister. I've got my family coming over tomorrow to visit the new baby. Do you want to do it on Monday?
I'll be at work, unless it's at evening.
What about Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Do it Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it Sunday evening.
No, well, I don't want to compete with Globebusters. So
our evening before Globebusters, so like 5 PM or something.
5 PM UK time. Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
On Sunday.
So it's about 11 Central, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm up for that. Sunday, 11 PM Central, or is it 10 PM? I don't know. I'll have to work it out. But thereabouts for the people over in the States, and it'll be about 5 PM UK time Sunday. Be here. No, be on Ranty Flat Earth channel.
Yes, that's where I'll stream it from.
Cool. Right now, where's Arwin?
Yeah, back to the show.
Yeah, we haven't got an Arwin, but nevertheless, I'll share the link to the public. So,
hang on, just before you do, I want to do a quick response to a troll in chat.
We need an Arwin. We do need an Arwin.
Or just a private link, just 2 minutes.
I do feel slightly naked without an Arwin.
Yeah, it's like when they say we have a Hulk. It's like,
we've got an Arwin.
We have an Arwin.
Right, you're on, Anthony.
All right, so I'm addressing in chat this guy called Supercurve. Let's just have a look at this. Might be a waste of time, actually. I should have checked this before I engaged. Don't engage with troll. Oh, fuck, he's a fucking zero sub channel, isn't he? This is a total waste of time. I'll do it anyway because I'll demonstrate how the scientific method applies. His claim was that this video by Phuket Word entitled "No Gravity, No Globe: Demo Relative Density on a Flat Earth." His claim is that this proves gravity, right? So let's apply scientific method. Observed phenomena, egg appears to be suspended without force of gravity attached to it. Independent variable is going to be gravity. So what do we need to manipulate to prove that gravity is the cause of something if we change something? Now he's claiming this is proof of gravity. Well, we didn't do that, did we? We changed the medium that the egg's in. So his claim is that, well, you've changed the mass of the medium that the egg is in. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. But he thinks there's gravity in here. So what he does is he infers that there is a force pushing the egg up, and that's the buoyancy force caused by the increase in density that's coming to the bottom of the tub because we know that layers settle and the more dense stuff goes to the bottom. He's implying that there's a buoyant force pushing up the egg, which he infers from gravity pulling down the weight that is the extra salt solution that's in it. But he's inferring this. He's not actually testing this by wiggling the independent variable. So the independent variable is the presumed cause in the hypothesis test. So in this case, the presumed cause is the density of the liquid. The hypothesis is that if we change the density of the liquid that the egg is in, we can force a displacement and therefore an accelerated mass. And obviously Newton says that where you have an accelerated mass, you have a force. Not that I agree with Newton. I'm just saying that that's what he says. So if we manipulate the medium that the egg sits in and the egg displaces and therefore moves, according to Newton, there is a force. And what do you know? When you change the solution, the density of the solution, and hopefully I'll find a bit where it goes up to the top or the bottom. Where is it? Oh, this is the post. This is the post position. So what he's doing here, this is before he changes the solution. So before he changes the solution, the egg sits at the top. After he changes the solution, the egg's now at the bottom, and we've changed the density. Now, because scientific method states that your independent variable is your presumed cause, if we change the density of the liquid, egg displaces. On this occasion, he's put more water in it that's got a salt solution in it, and he's changed the density of the liquid. It's had a slightly different effect, but we could do it with a fixed line. In fact, I might actually do this as my own little test where I do it exactly the way I'm portraying it. But the presumed cause is the independent variable, and that's the thing you manipulate. If he's going to claim that this is proof of gravity, then unfortunately, gravity's got to be your independent variable that you wiggle to prove that it's the cause of the effect. You can't infer it. You can't make inferences that gravity exists because that's called pseudoscience. That crosses the boundary between what you can prove by manipulation, demonstration, and cause and effect. That's where it crosses the line. You can't make inferences of what you think's there by coming up with some pretty mathematics to explain what you think's happening. You've got to demonstrate it. And obviously nobody can demonstrate gravity because depending on what your definition of gravity is, of course, it should be the curvature of space-time, not a force. But anyway, it should be the case that you manipulate your gravity and nobody can do that unless you are God. So no, this is not a demonstration of gravity. You can only infer gravity. And if you try and manipulate your cause being gravity, good luck with that because nobody can do that. So no, it's not a proof of gravity at all. This is a proof literally of changing the relative density, and that's all it is. So no, Super, unfortunately wrong. I'm done.
Coolio. So hopefully somebody will watch the back chat. Pop the link out now, so if you want to join, refresh your page.
Yeah, I'll do that. Seeing as though we've not got our beast.
We need a Hulk.
No, we just need somebody to
win.
We have an Arwin.
Just don't get him angry.
Good presentation nonetheless, Anthony. I mean, yeah, anybody can criticise the crude nature of the demonstration, but ultimately speaking, it doesn't matter. Yes, you could refine it right down. It wouldn't make any difference. You're still varying the density of the solution. That's what's causing the varied position when it reaches neutral buoyancy. I keep saying this more and more. There is generally neutrality. You don't tend to see things falling. You don't tend to walk out and see eggs rising up in deep puddles. What we tend to see is things in equilibrium. That's the general rule. So things saying, why does things go down? Well, they don't. You look at this picture now. What's falling? Nothing. What's rising up? Nothing. There's a bit of wind, a few trees moving. But basically, you've got neutrality. Everything's in equilibrium. A nice harmony of balance. Yeah? So, you want to move something out of that equilibrium and ask me why? I'll say, well, you did that.
Hello, Nathan.
Yeah, say again, 10th man.
Oh, I said hello. I just want to make sure you got my sound right. Can you expound? I think just by watching Sleeping Warrior do that, my mind went to how if it's true scientific method, it has to be observed in nature naturally. And can you contrast that with how pseudoscience tries to fit everything into that tight, narrow criteria?
Can you did you say contrast? Can you contrast?
Well, I want Nathan because he puts it so well that pseudoscience tries to put unnatural things that don't happen naturally into that first part, which is you must observe it as a phenomena.
Yeah, step one. We covered this in the pre-show. So the first thing you ask if there's a claim of science, well, what was the phenomena you observed? And if the phenomena is a leaf falling from a tree, then that is your phenomena. Not the presupposition that there's this thing called gravity. That's not what you're observing. That's not the phenomena you've just described when you say leaf falling from a tree. And as I say, I can change the medium and change the effect entirely. Put it in water and it doesn't have the same effect.
Right. So what you just said is what I want expounded on so the audience could get it, because what you saw was leaf falling and they go to their answer, oh, that's gravity, but they haven't done the scientific method yet.
No, that's why I say, again, this was covered in the pre-show, so shout out to all of you watching on the premiering stream on Nathan Oakley 1980. So yeah, once you've got the observed phenomena, you then establish what the cause of the phenomena is. But the phenomena itself has to be occurring in nature, not man-made.
Right, so leaf falling, and I got a globetard next to me. He says gravity. And I said, how do you get to that conclusion when all we observed was a leaf falling?
Well, he would say that it's fallen to the ground, therefore it's fallen to the center of mass, right?
Yeah, but if you're to assert that the cause of the phenomena of leaf falling is gravity, why did that leaf fall? Well, because a force of gravity pulled it to the ground. That's the assertion and the claim. So then you have their IV-DV relationship. Dependent variable, leaf falling. Independent variable, presumed cause of the effect, gravity. First, show me gravity. Then show me you varying and manipulating gravity to cause the leaf to fall. So that's why I said in the pre-show, your presumed cause must be real. Something that you can actually physically vary and manipulate. Not made up stuff. It's got to be a real thing. So yeah, what's gravity?
And if you observe a tree with a very thin limb with a bunch of leaves on it, you never see it bending as if there was a force pulling something.
Yeah, they just presuppose it. There's a guy in the chat now, Supercurve, same guy Anthony was talking to. Gravity is proportional to mass. Well, there's a declaration you haven't proved. So show me how it's proportional. Show me the effect of gravity if you're claiming it's an effect and not a cause. Then show it me. Show me it as a natural phenomena, or show me it as a presumed cause that you're varying and manipulating. In both instances, you'll fail. It's just something you've made up. It's just something that's on paper in maths. It doesn't mean anything.
Yep. Science is empirical by nature. It's not mathematical by nature, and that's the problem with Super. He thinks that maths is explaining it away by maths, and that's not what we observe real world. That's not what we can demonstrate or manipulate. That's not what we can prove. Maths is not science. Maths is just an expression of language with numbers and symbols. It doesn't prove a cause and effect relationship. Maths has never proved anything.
If I ask you to show me gravity, Globehead in question will then show me the phenomena that they'll later try and assert a cause of gravity in terms of their phenomena. So I say, show me gravity, and they'll say, look, a leaf falling, or they'll drop a pencil or a microphone. And you go, that's you dropping a microphone. Now show me gravity. Well, that's caused by gravity. Oh, right, so gravity's not something you can show me. It's not a phenomena. It's a cause now, is it? Oh, well, show me you varying and manipulating that which you presume caused that effect of you opening your hand, having taken a mic and put it into disequilibrium, and then releasing it so it reaches the original point it was at, equilibrium. Well, that description in no way has involved an assertion or presupposition of this magical force that you cannot show us as a phenomena and cannot vary and manipulate. As Anthony says, merely mathematics. Well, we're not talking about mathematics when we talk about the physical and natural world. We're talking about natural phenomena and causes thereof. That's it. It's very simple.
Yep.
In the physical natural world, have we ever observed something really big next to something really small having a pull on it?
We don't observe mass attracting mass in nature. Not only do we not observe a magical force of gravity, it's decried by the current rhetoric. There is no force of gravity, says Brian Cox.
They're walking backwards.
Double speaking their way through their rhetoric. That's all they're doing.
Gravity either.
Sorry, I cut you off, Anthony. Carry on.
Einstein also says there's no force of gravity.
Yeah, that's the current rhetoric. Brian Cox, it's not a force at all. Well, yeah, because that's not the current rhetoric.
But they insist on trying to apply this force. They want to hold on to Cavendish at all costs. But Cavendish isn't even an experiment because you don't. What's your independent variable in the Cavendish experiment? Distance to weights. Right, so distance to weights is meant to cause something, is it? Right, distance is a concept. It's not a physical thing, an attribute. It's just something we measure, and obviously measurements are not actually anything. They're just what we use to describe what we're doing. But ultimately, the Cavendish experiment doesn't want to be relinquished by these morons who apply antiquated science that by 1920, when Einstein submitted his general relativity paper, in 1915, everybody now accepted that it wasn't actually a force anyway, or so we're told. Not that I agree with that, but that's what we're told. So why keep reverting back to these forces that you think exist when Einstein said by 1920 that they were dead?
It gets worse with the Cavendish because, again, back like in the pre-show when I was explaining all this, you start by asking what's the phenomena. So if you're asking what exactly is happening, what is the phenomenon that you will be explaining the cause of, if that is the question that's being asked, then there is no observed phenomena. They claim mass is attracting mass. Where the hell are you seeing this happen in nature? Nowhere. Well, when you ask them that question, like we got from Circle Jerking Brenda, they assert over and over and over again that it happens in the test. Hey John, can you hear us?
Yeah, how's my sound coming through?
Not bad. Crispy.
Sorry, I got around a little bit late this morning. Anthony, it's not the Cavendish experiment. Cavendish doesn't have an experiment. It's the Reverend John Mitchell Cavendish. So let's get that right.
John get special treatment?
Say again?
How come John's getting special treatment and he's not like a pauper like the rest of us?
Ranty's now presenting, so Ranty patiently had this up before the pre-show even started, so I don't want to delay anymore. So,
and Nathan, just one final thing. I just typed in on Google Cavendish, and it shows many restaurants named Cavendish. So actually, Cavendish does attract people.
Reverend John Mitchell, or Michelle, whichever, I don't know, and Cavendish that developed this. So a priest is the originator of this quasi experiment. Reverend John Mitchell.
I think that calls for the global prayer.
Radius Dominus, Gravitus Spiritus Sanctus. Amen.
So yeah, I was out this morning. Am I still presenting, Nate?
You are. It's very noisy here, so I'm going to be on mute for a bit.
Okay, so yeah, I went down to the beach today and I wanted to follow this boat. I think I titled the stream going to try and view a boat going over the curvature or something like that. Of course we never did, and I made a prediction at the start of the live stream that all we would see is the boat basically go into an inferior mirage and disappear in behind the inferior mirage. So this is some of the footage that I took. I'll skip along to the next one, and here we have the same boat. Now then, do you notice anything about that boat compared to the boat we were just looking at? I'll make it easier for you guys.
No, I can see it. I just don't want to disturb it with racket. It looks like it should be letting in water through those windows, eh, Ranty?
Yeah, have you seen the length of these windows down here compared to the real length of the windows? But what's obviously happening is we're getting an inferior mirage right about here. And funnily enough, that inferior mirage is stretching the windows down, just as it is with the other stuff that we've come up with. And it's hiding this blue area. All the blue is hidden by the reflected white that's being miraged down upon it. And it blocks it out. It blocks everything from the underneath out. You can't see through the inferior mirage. It just creates a mirror image. And that's all we get to see throughout the entire footage. I'll put this video together because I did do it as a live stream and it was only through the viewfinder, so you couldn't really see it very well. But the prediction at the start, which was that the boat would just go into an inferior mirage and disappear into the distance and end up fading into the inferior mirage line, is exactly what happened. No boats went over the curve, Nathan.
No, the Earth is obviously unobservably flat. Another excellent demonstration. It's been a great day. I'm glad these go out on a delay on the main channel. Yeah, cracking demonstration.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, whilst we're there, I just wanted to just show something. I was focusing on this boat. Where are we? Was it? Let's go back to it. Let me just find the clip. I think it's this one here. Yeah. So I'm focusing on this boat out here, and obviously I'm seeing this boat. It's a small boat. It's a fishing boat. I think these are typically around about 16 or 17 foot in height. Because it's similar to the one that was hired in Wales. Anyway, it parks up in a minute and it just goes to the side. But what I want to focus on is the height of these waves as they splash up along the front. Now this is down to the chop, the swell, and the waves that are out there. Yeah. Now to me that looks pretty rough. You know, if you were on that boat, you're going to be thrown around quite a bit. And yet, when I zoom back out again, when I zoom back out, you'll see that this is the waves that we get at the shoreline. Very, very just little trickles up to your feet, and they'll stop here. There's no energy left on them. But when we zoom back into the boat, you'll see that it is being chucked around quite a lot out there. So this is all following on with the talk of the swell and the waves and how they cause obstruction. And secondly, I tried to find. I've got the name of the boat. It's called the Blue Mink. So I was able to zoom in and I was thinking, oh, I wonder if I can get the data for that. There it is. It's called the Blue Mink. Because I was thinking it was about 4 miles away, 4 or 5 miles away, but I couldn't prove it. So when I went looking for it, which is up here, Ship AIS, I typed it in for the Blue Mink, and basically it just said Blue Mink. It just said you couldn't find it, so that boat isn't registered. I wasn't able to get anything.
Okay. Hold on a second. Is that Arwin? Hey, Arwin.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Hey, Warren. Hey,
there is a point. There is a point to this. So if I can't find this boat on the tracker and I can't get its GPS location, I have no way of validating how far away this boat is. Now there's nothing hidden on that boat, and I know my elevator. I know my tape measure. I just measured it. I showed you in a minute. I'll put the tape measure down. There we go. I'm putting the tape measure down. So I can't prove where the horizon is or if these guys are beyond the horizon because I don't know. But if I had a drone, I could fly above them and I would know it's GPS.
Shout out to Julio Pabon. Hope I haven't butchered your name. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really do appreciate it.
So, yeah. There we go. Just thought I'd show you that.
Can I just say, Ranty, a few days ago, hey, Jessica, welcome back.
Hello, Jessica.
Oh.
Hello. A few days ago, you were a bit down in the mouth about, flat Earth in general, and I hope that when we do the Rantathon, you'll be rejuvenated, because the last few days, you've been absolutely on fire. I'm not kidding.
Well, sometimes, I mean, it's a lot of hard work doing this, so, you want to feel if you put in the effort in, you want to see some results. It's like today, I'd have loved to have come home and just seen where that boat was, find its GPS tracker, know how far it was, and then go, hey, guess what? It should have been 5 foot hidden or something. But I can't prove it. I can't prove how far away the boat was.
Guys, what's wrong with this 1.5 volt idiot?
Oh,
spamming in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. Look at this, Nath.
Oh.
Look at that.
Wow.
Look at this boat.
That's one hell of a fold line, eh?
But you can clearly see it's atmospheric.
Well, you're seeing the ripple of water in the boat. This is a perfect example. If Life is Short on the last show was here now, he'd be saying, yeah, that's the water. This is where we're saying it would be rising up beyond the I have to do it for the audience only. Let me just get my mouse. Where the hell is my mouse gone? There it is. So what they're claiming is the leading edge of the sphere, yeah, is not where the obstruction's starting, because we've got this fold line with the mirage that Ranty's describing coming down. But in this mirage, you can see what's coming up from the water. So you can see this rippling water like it's part of the boat, which it obviously isn't. But that's what would be described earlier on the last show by Life is Short as the horizon rising up further as you could look further in the distance. Now, obviously, at this very acute angle...
Well, hold on. I just want to correct you there, Nath. On this particular case, it's not the case because the hull of this boat is blue.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually
$20 in you.
Yeah, it's actually part of the hull that's just on the mirage line, literally. So you're seeing part of the hull.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected. I'll just do a quick shout out again to Julio Pavon. Again, I hope I didn't butcher your name. It says, Earth is flat, God is real, here's a blessing. Thank you very much for your super chat. Really appreciate it. Yeah, smash the super chat if you want to support this channel. Shout out again to Julio. Sorry to interrupt, Ranty.
No worries. It's just, I mean, you can clearly see with this demonstration that the hull is visible, and it's clearly higher than the water. It's a very clear image, this one, because I'm very low down. I think I'm only about 2.5 foot above the water at this time. Yeah, just good stuff.
Nah, it's all looming over the horizon.
Oh, damn it. On the last show, I was like, I'm glad we're reaching the point where we don't have to put in the sarcastic counter.
Sorry.
That's all right. We'll get there, Arwin. We'll get there together.
We need an Arwin. You didn't hear what we were saying before, Arwin. We need a Hulk. We said, well, why do we need a Hulk? We've got an Arwin.
Don't let him know that we equivocated and basically compared him to Hulk. he'll get a massive head from that.
Arwin Smash?
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Arwin Smash.
Nah.
Well, again, that's probably the third thanks you've had in the last few hours for your excellent presentations, Ranty. Thank you very much indeed.
Right. Well, I'm all presented out today, so you guys carry on.
I'm sure we'll go over these again in the Rantathon on Sunday, so I'll do a plug for that and a plug for Ballbusters in this little gap. So 2 p.m. Central Time and 8 p.m. UK time on Saturday, which will be the 11th. So tune in, be here or be Sphere for Ballbusters 9, which will be on Evolution. So check it out if you're watching this on the re-up. So if you're not watching this live, it'll have actually taken place already, because this is going out on Sunday, this particular show, this Flat Earth debate at least. However, I think, again, I'm probably plugging only to the live audience here, because the Rantathon will hopefully have also taken place at 5 p.m. UK time on Sunday, which is the 12th. So again, be there or be square, Ranty Flat Earth channel. And hopefully we'll get him some way closer to getting his Mavic Pro and bringing us back some absolutely superb footage from Loch Ness. Yeah, during the Rantathon, hopefully we're going over some of the footage that we use so often here on the debates and reveling in its glory. So check it out. Yeah, excellent stuff. We're about 10 minutes left on this live debate, just so you know.
Did you see Simon Dan release a video making a very, very groveling apology about his mistaken...
What?
I don't watch Simon Dan, but tell us all about it.
Oh, well, I'm being sarcastic, really. He didn't make a very big apology about mistaking the comet that he saw. So obviously, he said he'd seen Hale-Bopp. He said he'd seen Halley's Comet in the 1990s. Well, of course, it didn't pass by then. It was in 1986. And so Tony did a video about it saying, obviously, he was wrong. And now he realizes it was probably Hale-Bopp. And he literally spent about 10 seconds making a retraction on it. Wasn't really very, very good, really. Especially when it was tied in with a whole host of other things, like an 85-year cycle or a 75-year cycle of this comet, which was the wrong comet. So it should have had a bigger apology, I think.
So what he should have said was, "My entire point was negated by this one mistake. Please,
yes,
please rub it in my face." No, at least he's retracted it. Good for you, Simon Dan. Even though you're getting stick from around here, good for you. You've retracted it. Yes, you did make a glaring error, a very big lapse in your research. Yes, poor show. Well retracted.
I thought Tony would have spoken about it.
He might not be by his mic at the moment. You just don't know.
Oh.
So,
I
was just going to bring up some accounts, just a slight sidestep in conversation. So, were you all aware now that Google Earth is basically a flat Earth map?
No.
What? It's back?
Google Earth. Were we all aware? I mean, we'd all been using it. Obviously, we were kind of semi-aware, subconsciously aware, that to make our arguments work in any way, shape or form, we'd have to be using a flat Earth representation when you zoomed into the Google Earth map. You know, it's telling you the elevations aren't any different no matter where you are. There's no 8 inches per mile drop on that depiction of the flat plane we dwell atop. It's a flat Earth representation. Yeah, you can zoom right out and it re-renders it every time you move the presupposed sphere around that's being rendered. But ultimately speaking, when you're actually using it as a useful map, close in, zoomed in, it's presenting the world as a flat plane. There's no drop.
Yeah, John showed that with the Lake Pontchartrain from one end to the other, and then Ron had the picture of the bridge and the water line below the bridge, and it never showed a curve of any kind for an elevation change.
Yeah, if we're living on a globe, which is the assertion currently held by most people in the Western world, then there would need to be a drop from your feet in all directions. If it's a ball, right? Well, no, there isn't any drop ever.
Michael O'Sullivan says, elevation above sea level in brackets. Why would there be a drop? Sphere or not? What a retarded argument, guys.
Sorry, why would there be a drop? Well, why would you ever assert that the curve maths, which is mathematically calculating the drop, is ever applicable then? If you're saying there's no drop, why would you ever assume such a stupid thing? Then why would you ever try and calculate the drop?
Would people actually say, why is there a drop? Like, why would there be a drop? Will actually accept it.
Yeah, that person in the audience, go to Metabunk and say, why are you trying to calculate a drop? Because according to Google Earth, there isn't one. Yeah, that would be our point. Welcome to Flat Earth, whoever said that in the chat. Yeah, that's right, Sunshine. No drop. That's right. Yeah, our point. No drop. Yes, well done. Yeah, Google backed us on that point. Well done.
Yeah, they think they live on a level curve. That's what they think.
It's the biggest oxymoron of the century.
Yep. That's when you boil it down, when you break it down, they're saying that they live on a level curve. That's it.
They keep changing the shape, trying to say it's oblate or that it's all this other type of stuff, and it's like, we've never seen that though.
It's oblate. Somebody forgot to tell NASA.
There still be a drop even on an oblate spheroid.
Somebody forgot to tell NASA then.
When you take the air out of their ball, it goes flat.
Yep. It's just a bunch of hot air, literally, just the talking.
But remember, air is not atmosphere, so.
Oh, that's a Rumpus quote. That's a Rumpus quote.
Oh my god, I can't.
Yeah, that is so rumpus. Only he could say something like that with a straight face.
We want to see that again, don't we? I think we want to see that again.
Did you want to bring it up? Have you got it to hand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do some jiggery pokery with some buttons. Give me a second.
All right.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
It's going to be a fairly slick way to round out the live show. Can you make it any bigger?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. You're on screen.
Yeah, so obviously, well, it says 11 months ago, but this was about 3 years ago. You know, Mr. Utter. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're the utter moron. Air is not the atmosphere. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
We don't have to deal with anything else. Of course, atmo means air. I mean, this is beyond retard. I mean, come on.
And with that, I'll say, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on the second channel, Nathan Oakley, then unfortunately this is where we bid you farewell. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. And of course, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this live show possible. If you need to keep yourself occupied after the live stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. Once again, if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, stay tuned. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Air is not the atmosphere.
You're breaking up, Chocolate.
And I'm still trying to get over that he really typed air is not the atmosphere.
Yeah, you're still breaking up, man.
He said he's shocked that Rumpus said air is not the atmosphere. And
why should he be shocked?
We're dealing with Rumpus. He's never wrong.
He should be institutionalized. I dealt with him 3 years ago. I wasn't in Flat Earth it had to be not more than 2 weeks. When I debated him and his butt buddy that played moderator. What was his? Oh, paper explanator. Both had physics degrees. I just came on the scene, right? And I debated Rumpus. I drug him around by his short hairs. In fact, Nathan, it's on your channel, isn't it?
It's on the second channel. Yeah, I don't know where I got the original because wherever it originated has long gone and been shut down. But I think Betty shared it with me. She's got a copy of it. But that debate would hold up. It will hold up indefinitely. I've decided to rephrase that slightly. I was like, oh, that holds up today. Well, it will hold up indefinitely. None of the arguments have changed. You know, your argumentation has been so consistent.
Yeah, well, the truth doesn't change.
Exactly.
Well, you're just proving when you take them to task how illogical their statements are, and it's so absurd. That's why they always violate the rule of non-contradiction. They say one thing and another at the same time, negating both.
I wonder why no ballers joined the panel today.
Well, there was a sniper though.
Didn't catch the end of that, Jessica.
Yeah.
I wonder why the ballers what?
Like, I'm wondering. I'm surprised that no ballers joined the show. Like, no one tried to get on and try to debate today.
Well, they're what's his? I can't remember what he said he was. I think he was a pilot, arguing for the gyroscope a couple of days ago. So currently in the minds of the globeheads as me screaming at somebody about there not being any second reference frame if you claim there's one reference frame, right? Well, that kind of stings if you're claiming that there is two reference frames, Coriolis effect, spinning ball Earth. That's going to still be ringing in the ears of many a globehead, if you ask me. Maybe not. I could be wrong.
These baltards, I'll tell you what, they don't have a clue what the Coriolis effect is. Not one clue. Of course, they don't know anything else. This is what all they do is parrot their alma mater wiki. That's all they do. They just parrot the headlines. They don't know. They don't have any depth. I know I'm stereotyping because I've been dealing with these people for 3 years, right? Every single one of them that I've ever dealt with, it's the same old story, right? So this stereotype holds.
The ones that like are really stuck in their ways and stuck in their position, not the ones that are willing to actually have a real debate and talk about, like support their side with critical thinking. They're just going to be like, well, they're going to keep coming at it with conviction and anger as opposed to actually trying to stop and think and be like, wait a minute, they don't. So that's the problem. And there are some that
there's another problem because they lack depth. If they come on to if they come on to somebody that has at least a little depth to them or a little depth to the subject, and they bring that part up, then get ready because you're going to get rumpused. And they usually do it in teams, right?
Oh,
they won't have just one.
As a group.
They won't have just one, and then they'll start scattergunning. They'll start bringing up multiple topics at once to divert. All it is like second grade diversion, red herring fallacies everywhere. So you gotta get these people and you gotta get them into the corner, and then just unleash the hounds. That's what you got to do. It's pretty hard because usually flat earthers are 1 on 6, 1 on 8, right?
And usually they've formulated a game plan. So the guy yesterday, for example, what his game plan was to dilute the claim that's quite overt of what the gyroscope actually proves, so that he can dilute the demolition later on. But I just spotted what he was doing and absolutely tied him to the wall on what the actual assertion of the gyro is, so that when he later comes back to the gyro and starts again explaining for a second time and a third time how the gyro comes to the conclusion, it's already been conceded. Okay, you say the gyro proves a second reference frame. Well, at that point, we don't need to hear anything more about what the gyro is doing or how it's doing it. It's proving Coriolis. That's what the claim is. So from there, you go, okay, right, let's put that to one side. But that's all they want to come back to, because then they can be confusing about how it's the light that's actually giving you the second reference frame, but the Earth and atmosphere are attached together. So it's like, well, that's doublespeak. So you're saying in one breath, one reference frame, in the other, two reference frames. And he caught himself out when he had the two attached to one another. So you've got a helicopter going up. He's saying, the gyro says 15-degree turn underneath in the hour that's elapsed. And I said, well, does that mean that it has? Yes. Not realising that by saying yes, he's essentially saying the Earth's turning underneath and China's coming along at a rapid rate. So he's got to hold both positions, but at some point the contradiction gets verbalised. Yes, it is actually turning underneath the gyro at 15 degrees. Yeah, but it isn't, is it? The helicopter's just hovering in the air. Nothing's happening underneath, even though the gyro says it is. Oh, I have to go on mute.
Well, Nathan, you the only one that ever explained Coriolis effect the proper way when you positioned it with the roundabout. So when something actually is moving and you throw the ball and you threw it straight, and as you keep moving with the roundabout, it's got an apparent deflection. They can't do that with the globe, though.
Yeah, apparent deflection.
That's what I was wondering that when he said that yesterday, if the helicopter was just hovering over Earth and the gyro would show movement. But how would it do that if it's just hovering? What's it measuring?
No, he tried to cloud the argument by sticking with angular momentum. Of course, he wasn't defining what he was talking about. He was throwing two terms out consistently: angular momentum and vectors. What's your vector, Victor?
Yeah.
Right?
So what he's talking about when he's talking about vectors?
Roger.
What he's actually he's using. Arwin said, "Oh, you're overcomplicating it." Well, yeah, he's using a slightly more complex terminology to describe an aeroplane travelling through the air, and it's given airspeed. That's what he's saying in terms of its vector velocity. Well, then when he describes the angular momentum, he's talking about the Earth turning. Well, he's saying you don't understand the difference. It's like, yeah, I do understand the difference. Giving it a complex term doesn't change the fact that you've got one thing, plane travelling through the atmosphere in one reference frame, and the other thing, the angular momentum of the Earth turning underneath. Now, the complex terms don't change what we're describing, but he wants them to be diluted so that when he needs to, he can focus on the proof being in the gyro, and when he needs to, he can distract away from the fact that there's only one reference frame. But he needs to keep both vague. That's why I absolutely pinned him to the wall. What is the gyro actually saying? So it's saying the Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour. And as soon as I got him to concede, what the gyro does and how it does it becomes irrelevant. It's like, yeah, that now we move on to point 2. It's negated by planes not having that effect at all. Oh, well, you go up in a helicopter and you don't set your gyro, you don't, what would he say, how did he say, uncalibrated ring laser gyro in your hovering helicopter, and it will tell you an hour later you've got 15 degrees of Earth turn underneath. Oh, so has it? Yes? No. There's your contradiction. Nothing's happened, it's just hovered above the ground that's stationary in one reference frame. Or, sod all happening, sod all Earth turn, the gyro's just wrong. If it's telling you the Earth's turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour, you're a bonehead, because it isn't.
How about the preposterous ludicrousness of this atmosphere spinning with the Earth? This, I don't know where they came up with this. They don't think this through. Number one, they treat the atmosphere as a single entity when it's not. It's an inhomogeneous, anisotropic mixture of gases. And gases don't have any intermolecular bonds. They're not attached to each other. That's what makes them a gas. So how in the world can the atmosphere spin with the Earth? I mean, any idiot can walk outside and feel different winds from different directions, and you can look up in on certain days you got different levels of clouds in the atmosphere. They're moving every which way. So I just don't get it. This is so retard. It's almost it's difficult to even talk about it, right?
Yeah, when I first got into flat Earth, I heard that, and I was just like, wait, I didn't think that was a real argument. I thought there was some bullshit that actually flat earthers were making up about the Globers, saying that this is one of their arguments. I didn't realize this was actually an argument coming from Globers.
No, they actually, yes.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, no. Are you guys nuts? How does that work?
Well, they always use the example of you're inside of a car with windows up and enclosed container, which is a car, and they're saying, see, you could pass a cup of soda or whatever and it's not affected. But then on one show you guys said, yeah, try that in the back of a truck without the enclosure.
Exactly. Well, they don't know the difference
still,
between...
if you're inside the car, that's still one reference frame. That's not two separate reference frames. They're saying we have two different
you're missing it. They're getting confused between open and closed systems.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Shout out to George's thermos.
Yeah, George Hanatuck. Mr. friggin' closed thermos is an open system. Yeah, never forget that.
I'll never forget that either.
Oh my God.
Yep, closed thermos is an open system. Yep. And air is not the atmosphere. And the stars spin in opposite directions or counterclockwise and clockwise directions. Yeah. This is below retard. And they think they're clever. That's the hilarious part of it.
The opposite directions
Unbelievable.
one was bittersweet for me because the person who used to hold on to that, because I didn't know that it was obviously there came a point when I realised that there's a presupposition at play, and then eventually you actually told me the fallacy, the formal fallacy that they formulate it into, i.e. affirming the consequent. But before that, I just saw it as exactly like that dude that came on the other day. It's like, well, I don't have an answer for this. How do you explain why the stars rotate in the north and south hemispheres? And you go, okay, so you haven't recognised that you're using that word, that therein lies the presupposition. But before that, I didn't recognise it, and I had Tim Osman and JLB using it as their main proof of geocentric or heliocentric worlds. And when I finally figured it out and how I could verbalise it into the formal logical fallacy and the begging the question fallacy, then it's like, well, therein lies the end of that argument. But you think, well, JLB actually came on and joined the show amazingly while I was taking that apart, and it ended up being him that had the brunt of it. You know, Tim Osman got it in the aftermath. It was actually JLB that got it, and I like JLB. It's like, I don't want you to be the person having your head smashed in over this formal logical fallacy, you know. But he was affirming the consequent. Tough luck, JLB, but doesn't change my feelings on JLB other than that was bittersweet, as I say.
Well, every single ball earth proof, every single one of their claims is an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. Every single one. If you listen to them closely, so go study affirming the consequent formal logical fallacies if you're out there. It's real easy. Okay? Go study it. It's a formal logical fallacy. That's form. It has a form. If P, then Q. Q, therefore P. So I'm telling you, every single one is a formal logical fallacy affirming the consequent.
Do you know who the first person to point that out was to me? It wasn't yourself. You honed it and made me really understand what that meant. But the first person to point that out was Validation Boy. It was a good couple of years ago too. Just did a really concise video about it. And
he stole it from me.
Probably. He might have watched it on a Cathexis show and, you know, who knows. But certainly the first person to really make that clear. You will always start with the assumption of being on a ball to come out with the outcome of being on a ball. I can't remember the exact phraseology he used, but it was basically that. He was pointing out, and in example terms as well, but just without saying this is a formal logical fallacy called affirming the consequent. But he formulated it and explained it perfectly. And it's like, yeah, he's right. The only time they can ever assert a ball is if they start by putting you on that ball and getting you doing things on that ball. It's like, wow. There is no proof. It's just a begging the question fallacy, constantly assuming it.
Yep. Go ahead, try it yourself. Take an argument that's been put against you, and you can put it in that form. I'll guarantee it.
Yeah, with enough conversation, you can normally get your audience member, if they're a globehead, to do it for you if you can lead them enough.
Off topic, real quick, John. I did finally watch that Mary Schweitzer video that you did, you and Cathexis.
Right, I forgot to ask you about that. Yeah, did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
We'll be covering her extensively on Saturday. We're covering her on Saturday, right?
No, we're not going to bring Mary up Saturday.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Carry on as you were, Chocolate.
No, it was good to watch, and I didn't hear that interview with her and whoever she interviewed before, so it was good.
That was Steve McClown of the Clan McClowns.
The Clan McClowns. Yeah, man.
Yeah, these guys had Dr. Mary Schweitzer on, right? And the whole time, they think that Mary found fossilized bone. That's what they all think. Not only them. This has been going on for years. I mean, I can remember this back in the day. They don't understand what. Regardless of your position on dinosaurs, let's just stick with the context of their topic. They think that she found fossilized bones, right? But she didn't. She found bones. And she must have told them like 10 times, but they can't get it out of their head because they think they have a winning argument against young Earth creationists. And it was absolutely classic. And I took it step by step. Every time they would say, they were trying to get her to say that they weren't bones. But then she just came on and said, no, they're bones. They're not fossils, they're bones. So these people, I tell you what, man, they're friggin', they must be snorting glue or something. It's the whole lot of them. Like I said, it's the same old thing. All they do is parrot Wiki or Discovery Channel or what they heard. They just parrot the headline, right? And they constantly, it's like Tourette's. But once you have somebody that just digs Formica deep under it, it just collapses. It's a house of cards. It's actually pretty fun, but you have to get them alone. You can't have more than one of those crayon munchers, because then they feed off each other, and then what do? They scattergun and divert away. That's what you can see it. It's a phenomenon.
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who've tuned in on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, for smashing the super chat, hopefully, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. And of course, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this after show possible. You need to keep yourself occupied after this stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!